Welcome back to the Business is Human podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Fleetwood Hession, and we're here to bring you episodes that blend meaningful work with profitable success. Here to steward what I call the age of humanity. I believe if we transform the way we work, we can transform the way that we live. As always, my friendly request, if you like what you hear, hit subscribe so you don't miss any episode, and leave a review to tell the other humans that they might like it too. Always looking to help you and connect with others. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Welcome back to the show. I am a recovering overplanner. Dun, dun, dun. I used to plan for every possible outcome, every twist, every turn. I believed that I needed to mitigate every single possible risk of every project, of every day, in every moment. Like I could rarely just sit and enjoy watching a TV show with my family without thinking, okay, so this show is over in an hour and then we'll need to do this. And then what if I go ahead and plan this? Like, y'all, it was rough up in my brain. And I thought my belief, which last week we talked about beliefs, my belief was that I was making things easier for myself and others. And sure, sometimes that was the case. And sure, sometimes planning ahead did and does serve me well. But what I now realize for myself, and I'm observing constantly in others, clients, friends, family, is that it's how much energy I was pouring into things that never happened. And not because I had prevented things from happening. I mean, who do I think I am? Do I think I run the universe? The Lord said, no, you don't. Oftentimes, my overplanning messed things up in ways that then I had to go fix that. So this kind of breakthrough came to me where I realized that I didn't need to overplan. I needed to be confident in my ability to handle whatever was going to happen in the moment. And that shift didn't just save me time, but it made my life and my work far more rewarding. I got to be in the moment, not just planning for the next 3 moments. Now, sure, there is, I'm just not laissez-faire. I don't plan for anything anymore. I'm not to that degree, but I certainly stop myself from over planning and exhausting myself and then not being able to enjoy the work or be prepared for any possible changes. And so I want to introduce this idea to you, obviously, as we do here through the lens of the brain, the Bible, and business, because now that I know these things, I understand it more from that perspective. When I made these changes in my life, it was just, I was exhausted and I just didn't want to do it anymore. But now I can see the problems that overplanning was causing. So let's talk about it from brain science for just a couple minutes. Dr. Stephen Porges calls this neuroception, which is planning every single scenario because our nervous system is always scanning for danger. And when your identity is in, you've got to be the fix-it person, when your nervous system starts scanning for danger, you start planning for how you're going to not let that happen, and planning and overplanning and planning some more. And this is based in the illusion of control. The prefrontal cortex, the executive functioning part of your brain, loves prediction. It can't just leave space. It has to create a story to predict what's going to happen. And the function of that is to reduce uncertainty. But when we over rely on that, it keeps our amygdala in a mild threat state. So the more we plan for things not to be uncertain, the more we look for uncertainty. And the more we plan for that, the more we look for uncertainty. And pretty soon, we are just always in a state of responding to fear or responding to the uncertainty. And you will never, ever, ever get caught up or be completely in control. That's just not a thing. So we have been led to believe, because business, we get paid to fix things, that we have to control everything around us in order for us to be okay. And that's never going to work. It's an unwinnable game. And so we end up paying the price of the constant, well, what if this happens? Thinking, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if? And so now we've got chronic stress, decision fatigue, and decreased creativity, unable to live in the moment, unable to rest because we've been in activation mode for so long. We think that's our normal state of being, that we get to the point where we can't even sit and relax because that must mean we're slacking and we're not getting things done. So this training yourself to handle uncertainty in real time instead of forecasting it weeks, months, hours in advance strengthens our neuroplasticity and our adaptability. So the more we practice that we can handle what comes at us, we don't always have to prepare for it. We build that muscle. We build that confidence. We build that experience that we can handle whatever comes. We're going to do our best to plan in a reasonable fashion. Say it with me, in a reasonable fashion, and then be confident that there's rarely been a situation that we haven't been able to handle in our past, and we're going to be able to handle whatever comes in this one. And this plays out in business all the time. You know, the leaders that are constantly planning for whatever worst case scenario. What if the market downturn comes soon? Blah, blah, blah. And they are so busy planning for some doom and gloom that they miss a creative opportunity right in front of them because they're planning for a problem that hasn't even happened yet. But I also see it so much in personal lives and families. Like, yeah, I can't go play pickleball with you tonight because I got to overplan for this project that I've got coming up. That's not a good choice. Or your kids are saying, you know, dad, 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 mom, 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 and you're up late night over planning for something that's probably not going to happen, stressing about it in some way when you really need to be listening, talking to your kids. There's so many times that I witnessed this happening. So, I mean, so much of business is just fear-based. You've heard me do episodes about all of our thoughts come from love or fear. Well, the more I pay attention to this, business is just one big fear-mongering machine. And so that's why I am so determined to bring more of the biblical connection in, because fear is the enemy. And we're living this striving life of what we thought was supposed to be success, which is prove yourself, work harder, take care of the business. It will take care of you. And that is not at all what we were promised. And we have to be aware that there's a better way out there. One of my favorite verses in Proverbs is, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. So you can plan all you want, but the Lord already had it all figured out. Trusting him more will give you more time to play pickleball. How's that for an episode title? Another favorite, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. I mean, listen, Jesus loved order, discipline, and planning. It's all through the Bible. Like, he's not saying like, yeah, whatever happens, happens. No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't twist my words. But can you all just like look me in the eye and admit we've taken it too far often? Not always, often. Some industries are so fast in how often they change that you're planning for things that get disrupted from the industry before you can see it all out. And just be aware of the environment that you're in and plan appropriately for that environment so that you're not wasting your time. And again, I said it before, like being adaptive and flexible and yet confident that no matter what comes to you as a leader, that you're going to be able to pivot and shift and make it work. So prepare in a reasonable way for the likely scenarios, but develop your capacity to navigate the uncertainty, the unplanned, because that's the uncertainty and the unplanned is going to happen, whether you like it or not, whether you've planned or not. And so if you're so confident in your plan that you get completely whacked out when it doesn't go as planned, you're not the best leader that you can be for yourself, for your team, for the business. Because when you get nervous system whacked out, overly activated, that energy changes everybody's day, week, quarter. And so our ability to navigate uncertainty helps keep the team calm and keep them on track to navigate the uncertainty as well. So here's some questions you can take with you today, should you choose to accept the challenge. Where in my life or business am I over preparing for things that may never happen? Number 2, what is the emotional cost of constantly planning for every possibility? Number 3, when have I successfully navigated uncertainty in the past? What strengths did I use then that I know I can tap into in the future? Number 4, which parts of my planning are based on wisdom and which parts are based on fear? That's a good one. And number 5, where is God inviting me to trust him more than my own control? He's got me really convicted on that one. In fact, I've been looking at the whole aspect of the first book that I wrote as I'm writing the second book. And what I wish I would have said more in that book than I will say in this next one is we're not in control. Yes, write your own story, but based on the plan that God has already predestined for you. Because the more that we tap into that inner Holy Spirit wisdom, everything gets easier. Not always easier, but you're not relying on yourself for everything. Because that's what the devil wants you to do, to be exhausted by thinking that you're in control. That's for another day, y'all. That's probably a multi-episode series. But what do you think? Are you overplanning? I'd love to hear from you about this one. All right. Love you, mean it. I'm not coming down. I never left it on the ground. I'm not coming down. Thanks for being here. You can follow us on Instagram, Business is Human, or TikTok, Rebecca Fleetwood Hession. It's a great way to share some of the clips with your colleagues and friends. All right. Make it a great day. Love you, mean it.